So the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 17-9 in week 2 of this year's 2023 NFL season. I picked Jacksonville to win this game because they were at home. I thought that they were going to come out, play with a lot of energy, beat off the crowd, and try to get some get back from last season because the Chiefs beat them twice and they were close. The Jacksonville Jaguars came close twice to beating them. Both teams came out throwing the ball, get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands really quick, have him throw it in the flat, quick curl routes, probably because they feared Chris Jones being back on that line of scrimmage. And that was one of the things that played a factor in Jacksonville's loss, was the fact that Trevor Lawrence didn't have enough time to make a big play down the field. Kansas City was constantly getting in his face. I thought they did a better job of pressuring him and making him uncomfortable. And with Chris Jones being back for the Kansas City Chiefs, that makes things a lot easier for the other pass rushers, especially for George Karl Loftus III, who seems to be emerging as their second best pass rusher. So if he keeps on growing and showing progress, the Chiefs will finally have a legitimate pass rush, because now teams won't have to worry about Chris Jones, because having Chris Jones will open things up for a guy like George. Last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars did not do a good job of cashing in on the opportunities that they gave themselves, and that happened, unfortunately, in this game. It happened twice last season when they played them. Despite Jacksonville struggling on offense, they were still able to move the ball and get into the red zone a few times, but they were not able to cash in on their opportunities, and they only came away with 9 points. In the first half, Kansas City had a botched punt return. It was a fumble. They capitalized on it, but weren't able to come away with any points. And then in the second half, they got down to the red zone 3 times. Jacksonville had possessions where Trevor Lawrence threw it into the back of the end zone to Zay Jones, but unfortunately, Zay was not able to keep his momentum in bounds, and then the same thing happened to Calvin Ridley. All the throws that were into the back of the end zone, unfortunately, the receivers were not able to keep their feet in bounds. And you got to give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs for the good coverage and having to force Trevor Lawrence to make tough throws to try and fit it into the windows. He tried to hit Zay Jones again, I believe. He was actually kind of open, but it was still going to be a tough throw for Trevor to make. So not cashing in on the opportunities in the red zone hurt the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chiefs dominating them, doing a better job of pressuring Trevor Lawrence at the line of scrimmage also hurt the Jaguars. And I didn't think they tried to run the ball enough. And I think I watched these games in condensed version, so I think Travis Etienne might have gotten injured because I didn't see him for the rest of the game. But Jacksonville only ran the ball 18 times, had 74 yards. Travis had 12 rushing attempts, had 40 yards. He was targeted 3 times, 2 receptions. For the time that he was in the game, I didn't think he got enough touches. I didn't think he was involved in the game plan as much. Trevor Lawrence went 22 for 41, 216 yards. He was sacked 4 times, had 2 fumbles, lost one of them. Thought he was, not good, not bad, just, Christian Kirk had 14 targets, 11 receptions, 110 yards. Evan Ingram, 6 receptions, 57 yards. Everyone else was pretty quiet. So this was really more of a defensive battle, despite the Chiefs having 2 touchdown offensive trips. Mahomes went 29 for 41, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pick. He almost had 2. Isaiah Pacheco, they gave him the ball in the second half, and he had some nice runs. 12 attempts, 70 yards rushing. Going back to Mahomes, I thought he had a much better showing than he did last week, buying time in the pocket, using his legs to get out of trouble. Jacksonville's pass rush, when they had a chance to get him on the ground, they weren't able to. Let's see here. Kadarius Toney, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 35 yards. Sky Moore, 4 targets, 3 receptions. Everyone was pretty much quiet in this game. This was really a defensive battle. Not a whole lot going on offensively. The Chiefs, though, had another sloppy week. They had 3 turnovers, and they had 12 penalties that cost them 94 yards. They weren't really all that great on third down conversions, went 4 for 13. But it's only week 2. No need to freak out for either team. It's only week 2. Both defenses played well. I thought Jacksonville's defense, the strength of their defense seems to be their secondary. Josh Allen didn't have much of an impact in this game. And now that I know, he exited Sunday against the Chiefs with a shoulder injury. So if he was able to stay healthy, then he probably would have been able to get Mahomes on the ground and kept the game a lot closer than it already was. The Chiefs just made more plays than Jacksonville did, and that's all there is to it. Not a whole lot going on in this game, just a defensive battle for the most part. I wanted to talk about this game because I did pick these two to meet up in the AFC Championship game. I'm really high on Jacksonville this season. I think that they can beat the other teams in the AFC. You know, if they were to go up against the Bills, I like their chances because the Bills, they like to throw the ball. They still like to throw the ball 80 times a game. Josh Allen likes to stiff arm and hurdle and play reckless. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, same thing. They like to throw the ball 90 times a game, although Joe isn't running and hurdling over people. Sometimes Joe Mixon feels irrelevant in that offense. Then the Jets, obviously Aaron Rodgers going down and being out for the season, so you can just kiss their Super Bowl hopes for this year goodbye. Baltimore, I thought Lamar Jackson looked good on Sunday, but can he do that again and again and again? You know, and the Chargers are the Chargers. They're going to be the Chargers. Miami scares me out of all those teams. They scare me the most. So, yeah, it's only week 2. Both teams didn't really look their best. Jacksonville is going to have to do a better job of pass protecting for Trevor Lawrence so that they will be able to open up, make plays down the field with their receivers, like guys like Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Speaking of Ridley only was targeted 8 times, had 2 receptions, 32 yards. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have to find a connection, like a true chemistry with one of these receivers. It's looking like it's going to be Calvin. They're trying to develop that chemistry. And Calvin has looked great, considering that he hasn't played since, if my fucking computer will work. Okay. He has not played since 2021. Yeah. As far as the Chiefs go, Travis Kelce being back helps Mahomes because he is his safety valve. I've always thought Travis Kelce was their number 1 receiver or their number 1 target, not Tyreek Hill. I thought Tyreek Hill was number 2. And having Chris Jones coming back, that definitely helps. That pass rush, that defense, they're going to have to run the ball more. They're going to have to, put it in Isaiah Pacheco's hands, give the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, have a more balanced offensive attack. Just wanted to come on here and talk about this game. Like I said, I picked these two to be in the AFC Championship game, and I'm still sticking to it. So please like and subscribe. That is it. I am out.